So next, let me go to HO Scale Modeling. And our sponsor for that is Mainline Hobbies.
Mainline Hobby Supply is your one-stop store for model trains in G, O, S, HO, N and Z scales, including locomotives, rolling stock, track, train sets, and more to help build your model railroad. We are the largest model railroad shop in the area, and we carry a wide range of model railroad supplies across scales. Our friendly staff is always available to help with your modeling needs and to special order anything you may require. Mainline Hobby Supply is in southern Pennsylvania, halfway between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. We are only an hour away from Baltimore, and we are easy to get to from the 70, 81, 83, and 270 freeways. Plan to stop by on your next trip through Pennsylvania. Mainline Hobby Supply also has an online store that can cater to your modeling needs wherever you are located. With our large inventory, fixed shipping costs, friendly and knowledgeable service and prompt shipping, consider Mainline Hobby Supply for your next online order. Use the QR code to access our online store.
And our host for this segment of our show is Ed O'Rourke, MMR. Ed, welcome.
Thank you, Jim. So this is going to be a continuing sort of series here. Steve brought this up in one of his what do you want to talk about things. I thought it was an interesting topic. Starting over, what do you do when you start over? So this was my first adult layout. When we first bought our house, I built it in the basement of a 1920s colonial. Established the basic plan that I followed in succeeding layouts, modeling the area around New Haven Station, which in the 1950s, which was where I grew up. I built it with bench work. I actually brought from my mother's house from a youthful layout. It was at that time loop to loop. I hadn't discovered staging yards yet. I had 3 kids. I had a teaching job that kept me busy, a house that needed work, not a lot of money, and so progress was slow, and there was definitely a lot to learn. I did get my Golden Spike Scenery, Electrical, and Chief Dispatcher AP awards with it, but as you can see, those are Atlas selectors down there. This was cab control when I first built it with a couple of model rectifier power packs. I converted it to DCC at some point, but never took the thing out of there. And as you can see, I did my first installation of catenary there. The then president of our division came over to see the layout and said, Ed, how can you model in New Haven and not have catenary? And since I didn't have an answer to that, I found a guy down in Virginia that sells accurate New Haven catenary. So this was my first iteration of that. And this, at this point, it was now 2010. I'd been at this for 30 years, and the shortcomings of the layout were pretty much obvious. My youngest daughter finished school and moved to New Orleans for a job, so we were empty nesters. And I was ready to tear it down and start over. But the nest was only empty about 6 months when family circumstances necessitated bringing Judy's mother to live with us. The 2-story colonial with bedrooms and bathrooms upstairs, up 17 stairs, was not going to work. So we found a patio home in a condo development. Space was smaller than the basement of the old house and had the complication of a water heater, which you see over here, and a furnace, which is hiding behind there, and an electrical panel, all of which had to be accessible. So it was what I had to work with. As you can see, the stuff is moved in here. It took me a year to figure out what I was going to be able to do, but eventually I came up with a plan that I thought would work, preserving the same basic operating scheme of bringing trains in under diesels from Boston, taking off the diesel or the steam engine, putting on the electric and taking it to New York. At that point, 14 years ago, I did all the construction myself. Nowadays, I do all that work with a credit card. It's much, much easier and less strain on the back and that sort of thing. I did the lights, the walls, everything. And I was able to dismantle the old layout in such a way that I could reuse most of the underlying bench work, which saved me quite a bit of lumber costs. There were challenges. These spaces are under the stairs. I don't recommend this if you aren't 20 years old and able to climb in under there and re-rail trains when they derail. There was a pretty steep upgrade out of that staging up to the main level, which was sort of legendary in the Central New York Division. So it was, it was what I could do in the space that I had. And 12 years later, it looked pretty much like this. I had had it fully scenic. It was operational. But there's always a but. It was time to move again. After my mother-in-law passed, we realized that this house was too big for the two of us. It had 5 bedrooms, 4 full baths, which was fine when the girls used to come visit, but now we go visit them. Had a significant number of stairs to navigate, and we spent over a year looking for a new place that met our requirements, a sewing room for my wife, a train room for me, no stairs into the house, accessible laundry, and a guest room. And once we found that place, I had a couple of friends come in for a last run, as you can see here. And then I dismantled the layout once again. I had built it so that it could be unscrewed and taken apart, and most of it reused. I saved most of the buildings, the rolling stock, and etc. And this is what it, how the progress of doing that got to be. And here we are. There's the space. The Lark Products backdrop was peeled off the wall and saved. The movers had quite a bit to say about moving all that lumber. Are we moving all that stuff? Yep. Oh God. Okay. So they carried it up out of the basement, which was a good thing. And so there we were, and we have a new space. And this is where I'm going to stop for today. And next month we'll visit, what I did with this space. But this is now the 3rd layout at age 74. So can be done. It can be done. But as I say, nowadays I do the work with a credit card. So there you are. We'll come back to it and do some more next week. Thank you.